wonderful Doddie Weir in his very delicate suit. I'm actually colourblind as well. So,
I'm traumatised.
Yes. And Stewart Weir, who ghosted and worked on the book with Doddie all the way through, and you've seen the finished product. Doddie, 61 caps for Scotland, Lions Tour 1997, 3 World Cups, and a legend. So a very warm welcome, above all, to Doddie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Surprisingly, the different size we are and everything, we have one thing in common in rugby. We both won our first caps. I mean, I didn't win many more, but he got another 60, greedy sod. We both got our first caps against Argentina. I was in Buenos Aires, but you were at Murrayfield.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, it was much more fun in Buenos Aires. And I'm going to boast now, I did my one and only tackle in my career. In the second test, I had a habit of a big guy coming, I just step out the way, on you go, don't worry about me. And they had a centre called Alessandro Travaglini. You may remember him. He was roughly Doddie size. He was 6'4", and he was 17 stones. And he was thundering towards our line. But I was fine. I was right in front of him. And just as he got reasonably close, I did my sidestep to the right. But he, exactly the same moment, did his to the left. And Jim Telfer was our captain, and I don't think he thought I was macho man at any point in my career. And he screamed and yelled, "Tackle, for God's sake!" But this time he just was there, and the guy did the sidestep. I thought, oh no, because I'd never done a tackle before. I didn't know what to do. but I put my arms around, I closed my eyes completely, and I didn't open them till I heard him hit the ground, and he was just 6 inches short of the try line. And the captain, Telfer, went by, and he said, "Great tackle! Bloody hell, it's you!" and that was it. So we won our game.
Well, we won ours as well, Ian. But yeah, Jim Telfer was quite a special person, and I have to admit, he didn't think that too much of you backs.
No.
No, because you've got Gavin and Scott, who are called the Hastings sisters for obvious reasons. And I think Jim said that they swim in the shallow end of intelligence, which is very, very true. It's terrible because a simple question, because when we were away touring, he got asked the question, name the 4 seasons. I think it was Scott's turn to answer the question. He said, that's simple. Salt, vinegar, tomato sauce, and brown sauce. But you very kindly mentioned the games I've been involved in, ladies and gentlemen. It's lovely to be here and lovely to see so many people here. I'm not used to this. I come from the borders where my village has probably got about 10 people in, so this is very nervous. But thank you for my CV, and you probably won more games than me. But ladies and gentlemen, I've appeared in 3 World Cups for Scotland, but won no games, 61 international caps, of which I beat Spain. So look, I'm doing quite well.
That was their girls' team.
It was.
Well, was it Spain's first team?
Oh, of course it was. We were on fire. 8 Scotland rugby tours, won no games, and so it's just very fortunate. We're talking about the game of rugby because I wasn't very good at it, but I was one of very few players to have scored 2 tries in 1 match against the All Blacks.
You don't mention it often.
No, I didn't know. But sure, as you know, it's a shame it was on the PlayStation. But look, don't. Where's Mr. Lascelles? You talk about your first cap.
Yeah.
But the caps, you know, when you run out and one thing and another, you're in the change room, run out, and you got to get psyched up. There was the one and only Gary Armstrong, probably one of Scotland's best players at number 9. Let me, Stuart, if you don't mind standing up for a wee minute. So what happens would be,
I am standing.
No. Stuart, people are just laughing, thinking you're the wrong weight for your height.
Wait a minute.
Sorry.
I am the proper weight for a man my size carrying an anvil.
You come and join us as well, because you didn't get...
I'm just going to
come forward a
down
wee
here.
bit, Stuart, come forward. Come forward, because you didn't get many opportunities when you're playing for Scotland, because 8 caps compared to 61. I'd have plenty of opportunity. So almost. So that was very cheeky. But this was my sort of first cap in a way, see, with Gary Armstrong, one of the greatest boys. You stand up, looking at the audience a bit like this, and you're singing the Flower of Scotland, oh, Flower of Scotland. And Gary gave me a little nudge. Nudge me, well done. We've not done this before.
Well done.
And I go, what do you want? Like again? And he says, have you seen the size of the lady's chest in row 5? And I said, no, but the one in row 10's got a so
Right.
You sit down again?
But Ian, that was a true story. For the next 10 games, when I was number 8, Gary and I had a competition to see who could find the lady with the biggest chest. Until I got deported to the second row and lost out. So.
Yeah. Did you win any of those games?
No. But winning's not important.
And taking part, eh? So that was your start of the career, and let's just pick out some highlights that you remember.
Lowlights.
Well, the lowlights. No, we don't want to hear lowlights tonight. We want highlights and best moments.
We haven't got many.
We're back to Spain again.
Yes.
It's, who's in the audience? Have we got somebody who thinks they're quite small? A
Anyone from
gentleman.
Savills?
Where's
Oh,
the
Savills, yes.
Anyone in here from Savills?
Yes. I'd just like to mention that our sponsor tonight is, what's the name again?
Savills.
Savills.
But who stand up if you think you're particularly small. Well, no, I
We
bet
can't see them as they stand
no,
up.
Oh, she is standing
No,
up.
no,
Oh, you are small.
More so a gentleman. Yeah, you look quite small. Come forward here and just see. I want to just show you, ladies and gentlemen, how lucky I was at the game of rugby. And this is why a lot of people who play the game have got a lot of ability, like the Hastings sisters. They did very well. But I had one thing that this guy hasn't got. And wait till he comes on to the... Come up here. You see. Go on, quickly jump on my chair. Stand on the chair. Stand on the chair. You see?
Have we got a bigger chair?
Put the table on the chair. But in a way, that was quite fortunate because I was just above the average height, and I was so lucky. Because you've got to feel sorry for people like this because he's the only man I know who's got a full-size passport picture on his passport. Look. Well, we're asking him before about how good he was, and he said he was the local captain of the local Subutio team, you know? But wee man, let me help you down, because this is what I see on a daily basis. So thank you very much. Lovely to see you here.
Can I just say, Doddie's last appearance at Murrayfield, when he was doing the international, he obviously had that little skit and that little sketch there, and they asked for somebody who's particularly small to come up, and he spotted a gentleman sitting with his back to him on one of the tables, and Doddie picked the guy out and said, "You, wee guy, come on up here." And the guy turned around and happened to be Chinese. That was your last appearance at Murrayfield, wasn't it?
It didn't help, did it? Tell you what, though, I got a good ticket. No, I shouldn't say that.
Well,
But yeah, you talk about the games, Ian, and you and I have been very fortunate. Over the years, I was lucky that I was tall. But ladies and gentlemen, I've gone into the game of rugby, and we mentioned this a little bit in the book, but it wasn't always rugby that I was involved in. And it's quite hard to maybe believe, but it was horse riding. I used to compete.
Poor horse.
Well, and how heavy are you, Stuart?
Depends what scales I stand on. 17 stone.
Ian, how heavy are you?
12 stone.
So when I was in the first game for Scotland, ladies and gentlemen, I was 13 stone in size. Now that would not be allowed to be involved in pulling the jersey on. That's how I was able to do the horses. And I loved the horses. I was in the pony club. I competed at the Scottish Horse Trial Championships and thoroughly enjoyed the horses and wanted to go down the horsey route. So I competed against the likes, for those who may know or may not know, Ian Stark, Blythe Tate, Princess Anne, to name but a few. They were quite good. I wasn't very good, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. But I've got to thank my sister, because my sister killed my horse.
You're supposed to go, oh.
The fat ginger sister, she was too heavy for my horse, and it was a true story, by the way.
She was a shot put champion, wasn't she? She was a shot put champion.
The school shot put champion, and you don't get... you don't have to be skinny to do that, do you? So.
No.
And it was a true story. In the Gala Common Rider, my ever so healthy sister took my horse up the hill, had a heart attack and died. So if you ever try to win competitions with a dead horse...
Ian's tried to win a few races with them.
Yeah. I've backed a lot of dead
You
horses.
have, yes.
You have that, sir. And on the back of that is a true story. So when I had a dead horse, it wasn't going to be horse riding, it was going to be rugby. And from then on in, I've had one of the most amazing times in the game of rugby, with a lot of good friends, a lot of good times both on and off the field. And they continue today as well, because life's for living.
It's a great world of rugby, isn't it? That all over the world, it's like a big, big club. And if somebody's down, they go and support, and they do that. And that's happened to you, hasn't it? That you've had people from all over the world wishing you luck. No, including Hoyt, because Bill McLaren's from there.
Well, Gala.
Gala, then.
That's
Anyone
fair
from
enough.
Gala? Anyone from Gala? You lost.
They're here, Stuart, to hear about the book, because they can't read.
Yes.
Terrible. And also they can't write. It's actually quite nice to see them using the facilities. They're normal bad for that, people for Galley. But no, honestly, you know that in the game of rugby, and we'll come on to it maybe later on, but my quest at the moment with Motor Neurone Disease has been quite a journey, and the support that's been brought to me through the game of rugby has just been overwhelming. You don't play it for that, you play it to enjoy yourself and a good time, and that's what I had. Because an example would be how the game has changed on a Wednesday night for an international, and we'll see what your build-up's like as well. We'll get absolutely tied-toed on a Wednesday night. And we sleep it off Thursday and Friday and want to play on a Saturday. Now, we would never come out a nightclub before 3 o'clock in the morning on the Wednesday night, because we know that the deadline of the press was 3 o'clock. Thanks for that one, Stuart.
I had already filed my story.
So on the back of that, it was good, and I thought it brought the team together with a little bit of drinking, and that's been quite a big part of the life that we've been leading. And doing that, you don't realise the support that you get, and it's just been overwhelming with the support that we've had. We've had maybe in 20 months over 700 or 800 functions have appeared for our foundation, which is just quite amazing.
Just pick out from all those internationals a couple of games that were very, very special for you.
Well, it depends what you call special.
Well, you got 2 tries against the All Blacks.
Yeah,
that
but
was a
that
miracle.
was on the PlayStation, so that doesn't really count.
But one was from 6 inches, another one was from a foot. It wasn't exactly. It was running in from 30 metres out.
Harsh.
Yes,
But
true.
then you go through your rugby career, and like we're all been very lucky in our own sort of ways. So when I played for Melrose, met a lot of lovely people, had a bit of success there, especially over Gala, which is quite special. Went there on to Newcastle, met him with Johnny Wilkinson, taught him how to kick, one lucky kick. One lucky kick. And then from there into Scotland for 10 years, which is lovely. You mentioned the Lions, but it's the people on the way that you met, and one in particular who's helping us quite a bit. It's Kenny Logan, just a true great guy, and his wife Gabby. Just don't know what Gabby sees in Kenny, but
she wanted to be a social worker initially.
It's funny you say that, because she's certainly carrying the community with Kenny. You talk about the Hastings sisters being not very clever. Kenny Logan is worse. The Baxter Soup, who are a sponsor of Scottish Rugby Union, which is great, have accoladed Kenny with his efforts both on and off the field, and thanks to them, they've named their soup after Kenny, and that soup is called Thick Country Vegetable. Couldn't believe it. I'm not on it. And this is a true story, by the way. We were touring in New Zealand, and Kenny's a farmer from Stirling, and he came down for breakfast and said, "Can I have bacon and eggs?" And a lovely lady said, "Look, I'm sorry, we've got no bacon left." And he goes, "What, when you've got 4 million sheep?" It was Kenny Logan.
You have to explain that one to the guy from Gala. I heard him say, "What's funny about that?"
They do other things with sheep in Gala. But I told them I was coming up here.
Not after the 9 o'clock deadline.
I was coming here, and Kenny says his best wishes, and he said, "Look, tell everyone this. Do you realise in the Canary Isles there are no canaries? In the Virgin Isles there are no canaries as well." That's Kenny at his best. A lovely guy, though.
Very, very good. I know, because I've seen it before, that you've got a pair of boots that are with studs that can be worn by you, and you've got another pair. And for the England games, I believe you have a different pair of boots.
Well, possibly, but we'll come on to them. You're about to have a story or two about Scotland, England, because I was able to play against England 8 times, ladies and gentlemen. Lost them all. Disaster.
I've got a favourite memory with England, 1999, when Wales played England, and it was a home match for Wales. So they should have played in Cardiff, but they were rebuilding the stadium, so they played at Wembley.
Yep.
Played at Wembley, and it was an interesting game because they had Lawrence Delallier was captain of England, and England were in the lead, and they had 5 minutes to go, and they were 6-point lead, and there was a penalty in front of the post on the 22, and Delallier came out with a brilliant decision. 6 points ahead, 3 minutes to full time, will kick to the corner and score a try. They kicked to the corner, lost the line out, back to the halfway, came forward again, did the same thing. And, because there's a question for you at the end of this, Doddie. And again, he said, "We're not kicking that way this time. We've learned our lesson. We'll kick to this corner." And Johnny was salivating there. He said, "Look, I don't even need to take a run. I just kick it over." No, Lawrence said, "I'm captain." This time they were penalised at the line out. The ball was kicked right down past halfway into touch, line out for Wales. And it was won by Wales. And this is my favourite moment, but I got pulled up in front of the Director General for bias in a commentary, which it was so harsh. But it went to a tribunal, and the cause was this, that they won the line out, the Welsh. They're trailing by 6 points. The clock is now at 80 minutes, and they gave a crash ball to Scott Gibbs, and my commentary was factual. I said, it goes to Scott Gibbs. He bursts through between the two England centres, outstrips the back row, chips over, collects the ball, and he scores the try, which with the conversion means Scotland will be the Five Nations champions. Wait. We'll be the Five Nations champions this year, next year, the year after, and forevermore. Because it was the last game ever in the Five Nations. And I was pulled up for bias. Every one of those. Well, I got a good lawyer, and he said those were all facts. And they were all facts, and that's all he was doing. I got reprimanded, but I got off. Now, do you have any stories of things where you got into trouble?
No.
All right. Maybe we haven't got long enough to go through it. Have you picked one out, or a Lions tour, or a World Cup?
I think you're correct. Playing against all them is quite special for everyone. It's the longest serving cup, the Kilkenny Cup. I was 8 times, tried to beat them and didn't do that. And we talk off screen how the game has changed, ladies and gentlemen, quite a bit. I was lucky enough to be a professional for a little while, so I got paid for playing, which is brilliant. Whether I'd like to be involved now, because I think it's overanalyzed now, as people may or may not know. When next time you may watch a rugby match, you'll see a dimple between the number on the back and the collar. That's a GPS system that the players wear. So they analyse how fast you've gone, how far you've gone, what you've been doing during the game. I'd have to make sure my little dimple was put in Gary Armstrong's jersey.
They might have thought yours was actually put in your horse.
At least we would have done some work then. They analyse how you eat, your sleep, and everything like that as well. And I think sometimes it goes into too much detail. Where we played, we just wanted to play and went out and smashed everyone. And on the back of that, Savills, lovely to see you, Nick Penny in particular. I was at school with Nick, and it's a long time ago. And if we saw an English teacher, who would ever have thought we'd have been at a book festival? It's very... he's grown in size like you as well.
Yeah. So, he's a winger now.
Yeah. Let's have a bit from you.
No, because I'm not finished.
He's not finished yet.
No,
I know my place.
Do we have many English in the audience today? Oh, I better not use you, sir, in the front there. You look too nice. Where are they? Stand up, the English gentleman. No, has to be a gentleman that wants a right kicking. Who still have tape? There's one. No. It doesn't matter. You come down here just now, because you... No, not you, sir. You stay where you are. Just, I'll come and shake your hand. Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Was that dog as well? Watch yourself, Doddie.
No, that boy at the back there that's coming, you stay here, because you're too nice. This boy's got no hair. He's got no friends. He's in the wrong show. He shouldn't be here.
We've never had a dog on the stage.
He'll be joining the gala quartet. Just...
Gala, a stunt man.
Gala, quite surprised. I've never seen a crowd like this before. You come on stage. Lover, what's your name? Al, you come on stage here. Right, Al, you come and lie down just about here.
The studs are only that long. You'll be all right. Lie down.
Yeah, you are the Will Carling of the Edinburgh Book Festival. No.
You'll be fine.
No, you're fine. It won't happen.
The last guy got out of hospital 3 weeks ago. You're fine.
So then, you come and join in, because I know it's good to see you must be from Gala, because you're not tied your shoelaces. And they can't be. And if you go on your side, it won't hurt just as much. Go on your side. So
I've never seen anybody who's a stunt double for CNA.
So, listen, this is maybe not your orthodontist what goes on here, but look, we're going to try and explain how the laws have changed. We'll come on to them in a wee minute, Ian. So here we go. We've got the Will Carlin in front of us here of the Edinburgh Book Festival. No one likes them. It's like all people from Gala. No one likes them. But in our game, you could enter a ruck, and which was great. So the 2000... No, you're all right just now.
You're okay,
so
you're fine.
You go and join Stewart just now, because this man here never entered a ruck in his life.
No.
So,
I want Brian more.
so even at his tender age, Ian, this is what life's all about. So this is 2019 law, so you just stand over the boy, don't stand on him. So
just stand.
here we go. So stand.
Keep walking.
Wow.
Oh, sorry.
How?
Well,
No, that's cool.
no, it's English.
Old habits die hard.
So that was 2019. How exciting was that, ladies and gentlemen? You see, that's what happens now. You're not allowed to touch. But in our day, Ian, I, and Stewart, and Alan's day, this is how it was done. Go on, boys. Drop him. Drop him. Drop him. Stewart, drop him. Drop the shoulder. Drop the shoulder, Stewart. Boom. See what a difference, lady. Look at the excitement. Get the
Right.
boots.
You want me to
Hand
Yeah.
up.
You just stay there.
Yeah,
Just
well.
now. The wee one there.
We won.
So here's just to take it a little bit further. These are the boots that I used to wear.
Put your head down
On
again.
your,
Oh, sure.
and you'll see they're metal studs. And we're allowed to do a bit of rucking there. And against England, it was fantastic. But ladies and gentlemen, if I can show you against England, these are the boots.
Compare and contrast.
It was absolutely brilliant because, say we put these, they're 27 mil, they had washers on to make them that little bit longer. So they were called Will Carlin studs because everyone had them to try and get a hold of them. It was brilliant. So you would get them checked by the referee. And the referee would come in, he would check the studs, say we're against Wales, and he'd go, no, big man, they're illegal, put them back in your bag. So we would do that. But against England, we would get checked, the referee would go, good luck, go and get them. Thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. Well done. The World Cups. Tell us memories of the 3 World Cups you played in 91, 95, 99.
91.
Yeah, you tell me. So, could you?
1991, you could have, if it wasn't for the kindness of Kenny Milne, you'd have been skint to this day
That's very true.
because you played pool against them, double or quits.
I'm just not very good at things, am I?
No.
It was a knackered leading. When you go away in tour, you got the young boy and the old boy, and Kenny said, I'll give you a game of pool for £1. So, right, fine, I lost. I said, let's go doubles or quits, Kenny. I lost. I was £4,000 down before I won a game. But it was good fun. But Ian, I think with the game of rugby, all games, joking aside, we're very lucky we got to the semi-final in 91. Gavin missed one of the most easiest kicks about.
He made sure he didn't get to the final.
95 in South Africa was quite a memorable moment as well for a lot of political reasons. It was Gavin's last game as well, and I did manage to score a couple of tries against New Zealand, which was fantastic, maybe from about 900 yards. In 99, I can't really remember. It's one of these things in the game of rugby that a lot of people like Stewart and possibly yourself remember all the games. I just go out and have a great time wherever it is and whatever it is and forget everything. I think it's got a lot to do with alcohol.
Would you like one?
Well, in a wee second, yes. But in a joking aside, the game has totally changed. And after the game, we'd go into the car park. And we talk about this, ladies and gentlemen. And it's an area of the game that I don't really like too much, is the social media, cameras and everything. You see the youth of today, they've got to take pictures. you've got to see them when you go to concerts. They have their cameras on all the time, and they probably miss the actual show. And to myself, it ruins a lot of things. In the olden days, thankfully, we didn't have that device that took pictures, and we've got memories and times that we enjoy each other. And a typical example would be in the journey we're on. We're very fortunate where we've been, and the Scottish Rugby Union been truly amazing. The same with the Welsh. They called a trophy called the Doddie Weir trophy, which is quite amazing because normally you get trophies named after if you're dead, but I'm definitely not yet. So that was a surprise. So we went down there to Wales and we had a dinner the night before, and Gary Armstrong was going to get on stage with a couple of pints to give to Gregor Townsend, the coach of Scotland, and Warren Gatland, the coach of Wales, to do them a boat race. And I said, Gary can't do this. So right enough, he went on stage, gave the boys a pint and said, right, we've got to down it. But I came on stage as well and said, look, I don't want anyone to film this. And a few people got their phones out to film it. And I said, look, if you keep the phones out, you get fined £1,000. So luckily enough, they put them in their pocket. And the reason being was it would have been bad press to hear the night before a game both coaches were doing boat races. And they were happy to do it. Funnily enough, Gregor Townsend is probably still finishing his. But
I think you had a few more after last Saturday.
But joking aside, my idea was that you paid your money, enjoy it. It's your time to enjoy the memory for being here. There's no need to share it with everyone on the social media, and that it sort of stays to that recommendation at the moment. I think that kills the game just now. These boys are out in town, they're untouchable. You don't get today's player like what you got a hold of us. And after the games, win or lose, we had a good time with the opposition. And again, I don't think they do that. And that's a miss of today's environment.
You hear?
Right. I think now time is moving on. We'll enjoy the rugby, or just pick out 3 of your favourite players that if you were going to have a dinner and you can have anyone in the world that you played with or against. And my favourite guy is Gareth Edwards, so you're not allowed to pick him, but that leaves you a lot of others.
Probably Peter Walton because he ate too much.
I want him. I think if you're looking for someone to protect your Bear Grylls, would be quite nice. Penny Lancaster would be quite okay if got dropped off with Rod Stewart. Favourite players, I think, around the table. Finlay Calder was quite an amazing individual. Jim Telfer has changed quite considerably. He came up with some lovely sayings, ladies and gentlemen. Run as fast as you can and accelerate. So,
Jim calls me. Jim refers to me as a Ouija. Oh. Now I am not a Ouija. I don't live anywhere near Glasgow. But as Jim says, any bugger west of Peebles is a Ouija.
And he doesn't like Gala either. Who else would be quite? See, I've been very fortunate being in the game over the 90s. So
Wainwright would need to be there.
Rob Wainwright, yeah, definitely. He's a very interesting character. Such a way that he's quite well educated. We had a row 19, which was a special row, because every time we went on a flight, the W's would be row 19. We got absolutely bloated on whiskey. Wherever we were going in the world, Rob Wainwright would be telling us, this is good, that's good, have another one. And we're allowed to do it. And he's quite a special individual, as Mr. Wainwright, living on the Isle of Coll at the moment. And there were some good stories. So there's been that many. You talk about some of the players we've been with. And fortunately, I play against is Ian Jones, the Camel Kid from New Zealand. We've got Rob Andrew in a way. We've got John Olumo was very special as well, sadly not here. We mentioned maybe Hughes van der Vestes, and I fancy Pina as well, just to name drop quite a bit. But I think in my own company it would be fantastic we had the most amazing time with Gary Armstrong, Carl Hogg, and myself down in London before the dinner, and that's quite special with friends closely.
Just to close this bit of the conversation, just how easy was it to get the whole story out of Doddie?
Very easy. I just made it up. No, I mean, Doddie and I go back a long, long time. I mean, sort of 1991 World Cup, we first sort of met. A couple of years after that, I had an editor who basically saw a bit of potential. He said, "You two guys have got a good rapport. Why don't you sign him up and you can, ghostwrite his column for the newspaper?" I've hated that editor ever since. But I mean, because I did his column for the Evening Times, and then when I went to the Mirror, we did it there as well. I had a sort of back catalogue of Doddieisms, and a lot of them. I mean, there's still a lot I haven't used. I mean, Doddie talks about Kenny and the Hastings, and not being very clever. The team was preparing for the 1999 World Cup, and they put them in the hotel at Troon. And I said, "What room are you in?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "But listen," he said, "all these fantastic suites they were in. Mine's the guy. The name that's on the door, the name of the suite, looks as if it's a guy that should be selling ice cream." Okay. I said, "That'll be Mark Calcavecchia." He went, "That's it. How do you know that?" I said, "Because all the rooms are named after people who've won the Open at Troon." He went, "Oh, you're a clever guy." I said, "I didn't even be a rocket scientist to work that one out." But I mean, so we've gone back a long, long way. In terms of the book, we first spoke about doing a book when Doddie wasn't going into Australia in 2000. And we thought we'll spend the summer by doing a book. 20 years later, because of different circumstances and the fact that our publishers, Black and White, phoned us up and said, "Do you fancy doing a book?" We decided to do the book. So it was quite easy. Some of it was very, very difficult, as you might understand, for various reasons. One day I had travelled down to Solway, down to the caravan to see Doddie, and after asking one question, neither of the two of us could talk to each other. So we just tucked into Bucks Fizz for the rest of the day, which was great, except I had the car and the kids with me at the time. My beloved Nicola, she's completely understood when I came back 2 days later. But it was generally quite easy. Another thing is, the most difficult thing is Doddie goes away at tangents. But as long as you take note of what he's saying when he goes on one of these tangents, you end up with loads and loads of material. The only problem we had was the first time we sat down to do anything was on the 25th of May 2017. And he was going to a dinner. We went to a dinner at Coventry. So 5 hours down, 4 hours coming back up. I was driving on the way back up. And we put all this down in tape, or a lot of it down in tape. And he thought we had done the entire book. We'd go.
Ladies and gentlemen, I was hoping because these chats.
But I mean, so we got about 10,000 words, but you get all the bones of what you're going to speak about next. And of course, it's pretty fascinating, as he says there, with the camaraderie that he's had and the guys that he's actually played with, like say, Johnny and all the guys at Newcastle, especially the guys at Melrose and with Scotland as well. So, all in all, I don't tell the publishers this, wherever they are, but it was actually quite easy.
Right, well done. In the book.
But Ian, if I can tell my story,
Of course.
It was very kind because you're a multiple author as well, doing very well with your book, and best wishes with that as well. But there was another reason for it, ladies and gentlemen, as it'll be alluded in a wee bit minute, this motor neuron issue that I've got doesn't really help. When I got diagnosed nearly 3 years ago, the average life expectancy of someone who's got it is between 1 and 3 years. So that kind of propels you a little bit to get your finger out and put pen to paper after 20 years of talking about it. And what we were, maybe Nick and I were told when we were at school, when you've got a book, you've got to have a kind of start, middle and ending. Well, till then, I don't think we really had a bit of an ending, and hopefully there's a few additions to go thereof. So with the journey of this motor neuron disease, it kind of propelled us to get together. And Black and White have been absolutely fantastic, and the support as well has been amazing. And that's what I decided, or Stewart and I decided to put pen to paper and bring out the book. And you can see the continued theme, My Name's Doddie, so all begins with MND as well. So it's continue the sort of theme where we're at to try and tackle motor neurone disease as well. And with that, it's been the most amazing time writing it as well, because my little mate, Gary Armstrong, I've been blaming him for 20 years, ladies and gentlemen, because one game against Scotland, South Africa, and I was playing number 8, and we were standing next to each other doing the national anthems, looking for the ladies in the audience. Well, I thought that he missed Joos van der Westhuizen running down the wing and scoring a try. Now, I tried to run after him, and if the pitch was another 10 yards, I'm sure I would have got him. There was no chance. So I blame Gary, saying it was his man for the last 20 years, and I've since got dropped off number 8 and ended up playing in the second rows, number 4 and 5. To find out Gary wasn't even playing in that game. And Gary's been a major support as well, and the humour within the game of rugby is quite amazing, because when we got MND in December, we kept it quiet for other reasons, that Mum had cancer and just diagnosed then at the same time, and it was supposed to maybe our last Christmas as well, so that we'll give her time and we'll announce it again in January. So we did that, told Gary, told a lot of friends and what was going on. It's not the easiest thing to tell friends. And Gary came back to me and said, I hope you've got the potholes in your driveway filled up. I says, Gary, I've just said, I mentioned I've got this very serious health issue. You're going on about potholes in the driveway. Why is that? I don't want a call from your wife to say you've got an electric wheelchair stuck.
When it came time to tell everyone, Doddie was trying to tell everybody personally, and him and I had missed each other for about a week, and eventually he spoke to me and phoned me up and said, right, I've got good news and I've got bad news. And the good news is you might be doing a bit more with the Murrayfield experience for the hospitality. The bad news is I've MND. Now, given what his other job was, which was basically putting in sewage tanks, I thought I had a contract for the fairground at Strathclyde Park. And I said to him, oh, good for you. And there was stunned silence at the other end of the phone, and he said, did you hear what I said? I said, will I be doing a bit? More stunned silence. So we didn't get off to the best. It was difficult for him. I even made it even more difficult by thinking he was putting the sewage tanks in it. M&Ds.
Oh.
It was the longest car journey to Coventry, ladies and gentlemen.
It wasn't the way back. No. Especially we passed the police car doing 90.
The research, you've raised enormous sums of money for that, haven't you? And is there any feedback on that?
Yeah, if we can go back just to the journey we've been on before that, it's quite a strange journey for those who maybe don't know or anyone about MND. There's no one test to say that you've got it. So you've got to go through multiple tests to say you maybe haven't got it. So we went through a lot of blood tests, went through a lot of shock therapy. They put needles into your muscles and send shocks through it. If anyone's had a lumbar puncture before, I sympathise with you because it was horrific. I think I had 20 times more anaesthetic because my back with the rugby, they couldn't get the needle in, and a brain scan, and funnily enough, they didn't find anything wrong. In fact, they never found anything, did they?
No. Still looking.
So with all that, the diagnosis pretty much, and when you go on the go, because I lost a bit of power in my left hand, thought I'd caught my hand in the door in the farm, and I thought, well, I'll be fine by Monday, the broken bone will be that, but lost more power. Your tongue starts flickering a little bit, and if you Google, it tells you you've got MND. So with the game of rugby, and it's amazing how the game of rugby comes into it and still does, that I always thought I was going to be dropped from every game. So when I was still in the team, it was a lovely surprise. But if I got dropped, then I expected it and didn't shed a tear. So when I got told that I have MND, it wasn't a surprise. My wife, on the other hand, was the opposite effect because she was hoping that wouldn't be the case, but unfortunately it was. And from that day on, what the professor said, you got MND, there's your care nurse, get yourself in the corner, you're going to die. And that's it, and we can't do anything for you. Now, being a rugby boy and thinking this is absolutely dreadful, because what happens as well, you may or may not know, but MND, basically it's a muscle wasting disease. If only I did a lot more weight training when I was in the rugby, I might have another 30 years still to live. I should have stuck in a bit more.
You should have done that.
But eventually your leg muscles disappear, your arm muscles, you see, can't really touch my head now, but I can still drink a pint, not with one hand, but with two hands. You've got to adapt. You eventually... you eventually can't speak, you can't swallow, you can't breathe. Horrific in every sort of manner. So that's the diagnosis. But when your professor says that's it, there's nothing we can do. Every patient has to go and self-cure. By that I mean they go home, they look at the computer and see what's going to help them. It's like you're going maybe to the doctors with a chest infection and saying, look, I've got a chest infection, to the doctor, and the doctor says, yeah, you have, goodbye. 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, you'll get a prescription to try and help you. There's no prescription, there's no advice, there's nothing come from my professor whatsoever, which I thought was dreadful. Not even maybe doing some exercise, go and eat asparagus or something, or red wine and Guinness. I found it's been absolutely brilliant. It cures a lot of things and it's helped me be there. But on a serious note, that's how cutthroat it is. There's nothing there. The medical service don't help you. I've never spoken to my professor for 2.5 years to try and help me. So everyone with MND now has to go and look at their own things. So I've found that chiropractic helps. Myself, I go swimming once a week. I do deep sports massage. I do have quite a lot of Guinness and red, which is brilliant because this journey I've been invited to a lot of parties, which has been absolutely brilliant. But with that, he said, you'll never walk into this surgery in a year's time. Now, that gave me a bit of a fright, being quite active and being a professional sportsman. I've also got 3 young kids as well. You want to grow up with them and see what they're up to in the tick box with them as well. So that spurs you on quite a bit. So that's when we told Stewart and Finlay Calder and Scott Hastings, the chair of the trust, and the boys came in, and Jill Douglas is doing an amazing job of trying to make a difference. So there's one drug came out 25 years ago called Riluzole, which is supposed to extend your life by 3 months. Otherwise, not one drug, one thing extends the life for someone with MND. And I think that is disgraceful. So on the back of that, we got our trust together who have been truly amazing. As I mentioned, Scott's chair, Stuart's on the board. I've got Finlay Calder. It's quite ironic you talk about the game of rugby. Finlay Calder, OBE. We've got John Jeffrey, who's the Justice of the Peace. We've got Gary Armstrong, OBE. 3 of the biggest thugs in world rugby have been awarded. Unbelievable. Jill Douglas, my good lady. Who else is on it?
That's it, Gary.
And Gary. So with the team and the support that you mentioned at the beginning has been overwhelming, ladies and gentlemen, because we spent nearly, it was mentioned before, but £3.5 million has been spent in some 20 months so far. So 3 million's gone to research. But you give me a clap, but it's got nothing to do with me. See, lovely salvos are in here, and that's an example that when we mentioned that it's over 700 or 800 functions have been done for the foundation, and 3 million has gone to research of gene therapy and repurchasing of drugs, and 500,000 has gone to help people with MND as well. And Savills, who are here tonight, an example, for a couple of years they've been fundraising for myself, and there's a big check coming our way as well. So thank you very much for that. Done a lot of pie eatings, and you can see that Nick Penny has excelled in that department.
Yeah.
But
just on what Doddie's saying there, I mean, they've done tests in the past, but they would do a 4-year trial, and that would end, and then they start another one. So nobody, or very, very few, managed to survive the first test, let alone into another 4 years. The way it's been organised now is there's like 5 simultaneous tests going on, and much of it, in fact, so much of it, is not just to the generosity of the people out there, but also the fact that as a talisman and as a figurehead for the My Name's Doddie Foundation, this guy asks more questions and demands more of doctors, professors, scholars than anybody has ever done in the UK before. We are where we are today in terms of raising that amount of money and giving it away again for these guys to go and do their research, simply because he has empowered them to go and do the research, because you do not want to sit around a table when he's at the other end of it and basically says, and what have you been doing? Very, very clever guys just turn to puddles of jelly, basically. So, I mean, he struck fear into 1 or 2 rugby players. Trust me, professors don't like him either.
But so it's very kind. But when you're in this situation, you've got nothing to lose, have you? So again, it goes back to the rugby and the lovely education that we've been. If you're willing to give up your jersey, you're going to sit back and do nothing. We mentioned this before. If you want to fight for it, and the reason of fighting, that's what we're on, and that's my sort of goal when to try and make a difference. And we're doing that. We've got the support. We just need to continue the help, and that's where the book comes in quite as well. It says the journey. There might be some more books coming out with Black and White Punches and Stewart as well. But we're maybe very fortunate, and I know it's mentioned we've not got a lot of time left, but where we are, you see, people say, are you quite lucky? Well, I'm 2.5 years into having MND, ladies and gentlemen, and we're very fortunate because I've been able to spend time with a lot of people. I know it might be a bit crude, but I've been on many a living wake, which is absolutely brilliant. Because every night you've got to treat as your last night, and with that it's been phenomenal, the people who I've met and the people who have a lot of time and drinking together. And what hit home in is that we got an email through the trust and the foundation a wee while ago from a gentleman in Yorkshire who said, big man, keep up your good work, because my brother-in-law got MND in September 2017 and died in December 2017, 3 months after diagnosis. He was 38 years of age and he had 2 kids, 2 and 5. Now, that inspires me to keep going, but on that, it makes me feel sort of very fortunate.
I think, can you do a Q&A or not?
Aye.
Yeah.
Know.
All right.
It's raining.
I've got it back to you. I've got a Fred and Wilma moment. When I get that, I go to Fred and Wilma, and I'm back again. So really, why we're very fortunate, because I'm 10 years further on. My kids are 10 years further on. So what have we got to complain? The only thing I would like my kids to do is bring a girlfriend back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have done the whole hour, but we can take a few minutes now for you to fire questions.
And we don't want any like the one in Galashiels when the guy says to Doddie, why have you not bought any sheep of me this year?
There we are. Put a hand up there. Yes.
Hi, fantastic to hear your story. What an example. The question I'd like to say, I've been privileged to cover, as a supporter and a lifelong rugby fan, to support the Lions in Australia and New Zealand, and hopefully I'll make South Africa. It's always said that the ultimate success of a player is to be selected for the Lions and represent the 4 countries. Did you feel, I know your tour was cut short in '97, but did you get the same feeling when you were selected in that squad?
Ian, what do you think of that? Because I think, yeah, the Lions is very special. For those who don't know, you're selected from Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and England. And the best go through to play in a tour once every 4 years. And to go on that tour is very privileged because a lot of good players haven't pulled the top on. And I feel very privileged. And it's a question we get quite often. Would you play for the Lions or Scotland if you had a choice? Well, dressed a bit like this.
I bet.
And this is very special tartan as well. We built this. Just to come back to, we built this, and it's of the 3 sort of clubs I've been involved with: Melrose, Yellow and Black and White's Newcastle, and the Blues Scotland. And the funny thing is, if you ever be painting your sitting room and put the wee 4-inch bit of paint on, go, that looks okay, until you see the full wall finish. Quite similar. But on the Lions is very special, and somebody asked me a wee while ago what's my most memorable moment, and coming through the borders, just thankfully away for Gala, is when you walked onto the plane, ladies and gentlemen. You're one of the greats of the game, Martin Johnson and a few others. I went left into the plane and right to the front. So my abiding memory really of the 97 Lions is getting first class travel. Absolutely brilliant. But I think it is an icing on the cake, but I'm afraid if I had to go over it, playing for Scotland would get my vote. I don't know about you, Ian.
Yeah.
Just
Thank you so very much. It's been a real privilege being here, and I'm sure we've all enjoyed hearing your stories about the players. I wonder if you've got 1 or 2 about the coaches. Who were the best coaches?
Jim Telfer.
Jim Telfer, for me, it was an outstanding individual. He was a great guy, he had a different way of coaching. It was the old schoolmaster. That if you had to, what you call, go low into ruck, so like bend over and go in, and he would have a broom shank there hitting you on the back if you weren't low enough. It was quite expletive on what he was saying as well. But if it wasn't for Jim, you see, you get attached to coaches. He coached me at Melrose, was an outstanding individual. Just his motivation for the game was truly unbelievable. He did the Scotland and the Lions as well, so I certainly wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Jim. But I have to admit, I had to dig his garden lots of times and wash his car to play for anything. But
Yep.
Hi, so it's not really a question, it's more of a thanks. I've got first-hand experience of motor neurone disease, and I like to watch with interest what you're doing, and I'd just like to congratulate you for raising that awareness, because not a lot of people know about it. It's a horrific disease, but I just want to pass on my eternal gratitude to you for that.
thank you.
Thank you.
One more? Yep.
This won't be a very clever question.
No, he's got a
Look
tie on.
He's in a bad group there.
He just out of court or appear in the morning.
It's from an estate agent from Savills. What would your advice be for the Scotland team on Saturday?
I have to make the advice, I'm sorry, because you're not local, and luckily you're not from Gala, is that these are warm-up games, and it's very exciting, I think, with the game of rugby the way it's gone, but that's not the important game on Saturday. The important game is against you fellas in the World Cup. Scotland are going to smash Ireland, and it doesn't matter what happens on Saturday. But joking aside, I think it's going to be very tricky. They've got to get the support back. They didn't have a very good first game, but you can see what happens against England, Wales. home advantage, with any luck, will make a big difference. They're not a bad side. They enjoy running. They're still finding their feet. And ultimately, the games, the World Cup's going to be a very tricky time for them. And Ian might come in because he's spent 50 years broadcasting, and it could end up to see.
Is that what you did?
But with the Scotland group, with Ireland, they've also got Japan who are doing very well, and Samoa, big boys there as well, and Russia. It's going to be a very difficult group. But within Scotland, with Gregor, if they're firing, you can see what they did against England in the last Six Nations. They can go on and do very well in the World Cup. So fingers crossed they're going to do that.
One last question. No?
Down the front.
Oh, there we are.
Down at the front.
Oh.
Shout out if you like.
Yeah.
Go for it, yeah.
There, yes.
Oh, I like the T-shirt.
I like the T-shirt. Well done, well done. You want to come down here and model it for us? Oh, Doddie in the back, are fantastic.
I would just like to say to everybody, go on the website, buy a T-shirt, buy a sweatshirt, and support Doddie.
Your check's in the post. She's on commission.
And there was one at the back, and that's it. Was there? No.
Nick Penny, don't worry, they do 4XL. Sorry, Nick's mum's here. It's a lovely guy.
Sure, I'd like to say you've done a very good job, but is it not going a bit too far to share a stage with a Scottish traitor who won £4,000 betting on England to win the World Cup?
Yeah, Mr. Robertson, talk about it. Johnny Wilkinson there.
Yes.
One lucky kick.
But really, you should be saying it was all okay, because the commentary I did on Johnny's drop goal, my Scottish friends were a bit annoyed because they thought I was a little too enthusiastic in the drop goal going over. But it had nothing to do with England winning the World Cup, but entirely to do with the bet I had with Ladbrokes, where I had 50 quid at 40 to 1. And the excitement was, and the ball comes back to Johnny Wilkinson. He drops for World Cup glory. It's high, it's straight, it's over. And there's no time for Australia to come back. Johnny Wilkinson is England's hero yet again, and England have just won the World Cup, and I've won £4,000. Yes! On that note, I've spent it all, don't worry. Thank enormously Stewart for everything he's done with the book and tonight and with Doddie, and above all, Doddie is an inspiration to all of us, and all over the rugby world we say thank you very much to Doddie.
Thank you. Thank you. What do you know?
That's what we like.
Go on, man.
Well.
We're ready to come off.